Hello, thank you for being here tonight. We are on week number 2 of our In.Form transformation journey. My name is Charlotte Yisrael, and of course I'm going to be your In.Form coach for tonight. We're going to be talking about week 2 of our In.Form transformation, and that is all about setting goals, understanding our accountability, how to basically build the foundation of this program. The thing is that many of us, I don't think any of us have ever really accomplished anything great without a plan. So tonight what we're going to be doing is we're going to actually be establishing the plan and how we're going to get there through the whole 13 weeks. So that's one of the big things we're going to be covering tonight. We're also going to be covering what I call the diet syndrome, and we're going to be following how that's something that's not healthy for us and is something we really need to remove from our minds. We're also going to be filling out some questionnaires and some surveys, giving out some samples of some different things, and talking about water. And of course tonight we're going to be making a blueberry chai smoothie. We're going to be using chai seeds for our healthy fat with some blueberries and some coconut toasted almond milk along with some coconut water. And we're going to be enjoying that tonight along with our protein powders that we're using. So before we get started, I wanted to make sure I had given you guys a couple of things that you might not have gotten last time. If you were both here though Tuesday night, right? Mm-hmm. So you probably got information on the pea protein and the whey protein. Did you guys get that? Okay. Okay. I want to make sure everybody gets this information. It's really important to know what's going on with these protein shakes. Of course, the protein shakes, one of the things that makes them different, actually two of the things that makes it different, is you've got the phytosterols in the protein from In.Form specifically. That is plant cholesterol, and that's where we're seeing our own cholesterol levels go down, is because those plant sterols literally block our own cholesterol from being absorbed. And of course in these shakes we've also got the inulin, which is food for the good bacteria. We can't put good bacteria, aka probiotics, in our gut and not feed it. We've got to make sure we feed it, and that's one of the things that this particular protein powder, what makes it different, is that it has those two particular things in it that make it different, and also show it as part of this clinically studied trial program that we have called the In.Form program. The other thing that I wanted to mention, I didn't get this mentioned to my Monday night class last week. Both of you probably already heard it, but just to make sure that anybody watching the video is aware, on Monday nights, for anybody who has signed up with the In.Form program, such as you all that are here tonight, on Mondays only, you get 15% off of all Nature Sunshine products and In.Form products. So whether you're ordering your products, or whether you're needing to pick up some product, or you notice you're getting really low on your protein powder and you're waiting to get your order in, you can jump on over to Pearson's here next door, and they will actually give you 15% off because you paid for this class and you are an Informer. And that happens on Monday nights. And of course, I'm going to make sure that you guys have a sheet on that. This also explains some of the other specials that Pearson's has as well. I will say that, if you're needing just to purchase 1 or 2 items, it's probably best to go over here and purchase it because you're not paying the shipping. If you have a really big order and you can wait a little bit, then it's probably better financially for you to actually order it. So just depends on where your financial plan is, and if you need help deciphering that, of course, I'm always here to help with that. The next thing that I wanted to bring up real quick is this toxicity questionnaire. This toxicity questionnaire is something new. I just came up with it from this weekend when I went to the Indianapolis Nature Sunshine Convention, and we learned a lot about different chemical and metal poisons and chemicals in our body. And actually next week we're going to be talking about toxicity, and I need for you to fill this out for me tonight and turn it in, so that way I can have a chance to review it, and as we talk about cleansing and toxicity next week, I can kind of have an idea of where to steer you as you continue on your In.Form transformation journey and getting healthier from the inside out. So please make sure you turn these into the inbox before y'all leave tonight. Okay. Second of all, did you guys both get my emails? You got my emails? Okay. You got my email? The follow-up email? Did you ever get that? Problems with your email address?
Let me check.
I was writing it in as you told me to say it. That's kind of bad, but yeah, that's what she said. Of course, I'm a visual person, so if you give me a visual, I kind of stick with it, and it takes a bit to change it. But I did send an email out, I believe it was on Wednesday. You will be getting an email from me every single week. So it's very important that you check your email boxes and look at the email. Several things are going to come on that email, such as, reviewing your homework for the week, giving you the smoothie recipe for what we're going to be doing tonight and every week will be on there, and any other pertinent information that you need to know about. Like for instance, if we're doing measurement week next week or something along that line, all that information is going to be in that email. So every week you're going to receive an email from me. I will tell you that I do like to hide some hidden messages in my emails to make sure you read them. And we'll be giving out prizes and drawing numbers and things like that for those people who can answer the questions or come up with the information when we do meet. So make sure you read the emails, bottom line, I guess. All right. Also, I wanted to let you know too, after Shiree and I had a wonderful time in Indianapolis, we started to really brainstorm a few different things on how we could help more people and get information out there. We are going to be putting together a Facebook closed group for informers only. So we're going to start putting that together. So anybody who's been in the IN.Form group or is presently in the IN.Form group, you'll be invited to that group as well, and we'll be able to post regular information there that may help you, and you may be able to communicate with each other if you need some support, share recipes, different things like that. So coming soon, a IN.Form closed group on Facebook. Also, we're going to be doing an Instagram one as well. I'm not sure if the Instagram one can be public or not, or be private or not, but anyways, we've got a couple things we're going to be doing media-wise just to help get the word out there. And also it'll be easy for you guys if you want to share information with other people that may be interested in this program, then you'll be able to do that from there as well. All right. So I like to start real quick here with a quote by Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou said, in one of her many wonderful quotes, "We delight in the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it goes through to achieve the beauty that it achieves." And I like to bring this quote up at the beginning of this program because sincerely that's where we're at right now. We're all kind of in this little cocoon. We're trying to figure out our foundation and how we're supposed to eat and how we're supposed to take our shakes and all of those different things. But we're in the process of an emerging, beautiful transformation. And that's why I like to call this program the IN.Form Transformation Program, because literally that's what we're doing, is we're transforming. And so I like to bring that forward because you can kind of think about it. If you get a little depressed or frustrated with the program, or just remember, you're in a transformation phase. And so every little thing that you do to move you forward is going to increase the beauty of the transformation that you all will be having in 13 weeks, less than 13 weeks now. So the next thing I like to cover is a gut versus organ analogy, okay? So way back in the early 2000s, I started telling people this particular little quip about the body systems, and I've loved it ever since, and it's just wonderful that I get an opportunity now to expand on it besides just telling the story. So one day, all of the organs of the body got together and were having a discussion. The liver, the brain, the kidneys, heart, everybody was getting together because they were discussing who was the most important organ. Hey, shh, they can hear you on the video. Who is the most important organ? And they were going back and forth, and obviously having some debates, and the heart saying, hey, I'm the most important because I'm the one who's in charge of the circulation and getting blood and oxygen everywhere, so therefore I must be the most important. And then of course we've got the liver, and the liver says, well, guess what, I perform over 500 functions a day, so doesn't that probably make me the most important, because I do more than the rest of y'all. And of course, it can keep going on and on. The brain saying, well, I'm the most important because I'm the one that helps you get to where you want to go and helps you think out your processes and whatnot. And anyways, this discussion kept going on, and finally the gut did its little clearing of the throat and said, hey guys, I think I might be the most important. And of course, they're all looking at the gut like, well, what do you do? And the gut, of course, says, well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't absorb your nutrients from digesting the nutrients properly, and you also wouldn't allow those nutrients to be free to get into the bloodstream so those nutrients could feed you all, because you all need to be fed these nutrients that I'm actually digesting and absorbing for you. And then of course, if I didn't allow and push through the toxicity in your body out the back end, then you would all be floating in a pool of toxicity and therefore not be able to do your jobs either. So therefore, I think maybe I must be the most important. And as I said earlier, I've been telling this story for years, and it's true. The gut is the most important organ of our whole body, because that gut literally controls every function that we have going on. It may not be a direct function, but it's definitely a secondary function. I mean, if the heart doesn't get the nutrients it needs, it's not going to beat, right? If the brain doesn't get the nutrients it needs, it's not going to function. And so the gut really is the head of all of it. And as you can see here on our poster, there again, the gut is the center of all these different body systems and health concerns that we may have. Does anybody here know what serotonin is? Go ahead and say it, Sarah.
It's a number, it's a lift.
You bet.
It's
It's your happy hormone. It's the one that gets you out of bed in the day and you move through. It's your happy hormone. So what's melatonin in?
makes you go to sleep.
Makes
Relaxes you.
Relaxes you and makes you go to sleep. You bet. Did you know that 80 to 90% of all your serotonin and melatonin is made in the gut? So if you have a toxic gut and you're not having that happy hormone fix, or you're not sleeping well, do you think that maybe it's because the gut may be toxic and is not allowing your body to actually produce those hormones that are so important? Yes, exactly. And that's not the only thing. Your immune system is primarily settled inside your gut as well. If you've got a toxic gut, the immune system is not able to do what it needs to do to keep us away from autoimmune diseases, or keep us away from that cold that's floating around, or the flu season setting in. So literally, if we can just focus on that gut, which is what this program does, then there, again, all of these other issues will start to lighten, lift, and go away. And that's what our whole goal is here, okay? The other thing I like to bring up is cravings. How many of you think your cravings are in your head? Maybe, I don't know. Feels like it because you hear it up here, right? When that craving comes across here, it feels like it's in your brain. But literally, the cravings come from your gut. You've got bad bacteria and you've got good bacteria. When the bad bacteria is in charge, it has cravings and it sends those signals to you, to your brain. It says, feed me. And what does the bad bacteria eat? What's its food?
Sugar.
Sugar. So when you want that donut, or you want that chocolate cake, or you want that ice cream, and then we beat ourselves up in our own head, oh, you shouldn't have those cravings, what's wrong with you? Oh, you know that's not good for you. And you play this little mind game with yourself, when in reality, it's not the mind at all that's causing that craving. It's the gut. The gut is because that bad bacteria is a living organism, just like you're a living organism, just like your good bacteria is a living organism, and it wants to survive. And how does it survive? By eating sugar. So therefore what ends up happening is your bad bacteria literally sends a signal to your brain and says, feed me, I want to stay alive. Okay? So when we rebalance that gut, when we reset that gut completely, which means we replenish, we repair, we reset that whole gut, that bad bacteria goes from here to here, and the good bacteria, which was there originally, goes to here. So who's in charge now? The good guys. So guess what? What do the good guys like to eat?
Green leafy stuff.
Green leafy stuff, exactly. Vegetables, green leafy stuff. Perfect, Jennifer. But it's true. I have a really good, did I tell you guys my Brussels sprout story at all? Okay, so I've been doing the IN.Form program for a while for myself, and then I had started the very first IN.Form program over at a Rowdy Stick Horse, and Nettie, by the way, was part of that. And it was in the winter time, and it was really cold outside, and after class, I had all the children with me, of course, we had car trouble here in town. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and anyway, I figured out what I was finally going to do, and talked with Michael over the phone, and got it figured out, and I got back to the house. Well, I didn't get back to the house till 11 o'clock at night, and I had still not eaten dinner, kind of a late night dinner eater, even though that's not the best thing. That's kind of my MO, but it's usually a good dinner. And I got home, and normally what I would do is I would reach for the hidden organic caramel corn behind some stuff in the pantry, where I would always keep my stash, right? And I looked in my pantry, and I knew it was there, and literally I was like, no, I want Brussels sprouts. I'm craving Brussels sprouts. And I had some frozen Brussels sprouts in the freezer, cooked those up real quick, and I literally sat there and ate a whole bag of Brussels sprouts with my little one, who will fight me for them. But that's what my body actually craved. It was a stressful night, but instead of craving something stressful, I craved the Brussels sprouts. And I've heard this multiple times before with people. It's like they go and even buy it, and they're like, that bad, that bad food, I don't want to call it bad, but anyways, that food that's not going to be as healthy for us. Then you can go buy it, and then they go to eat it, and they're like, I don't really want it now. They're like, what's wrong with me? Well, what's wrong with you is you just boosted your good bacteria, and there's no bad bacteria that's forcing you to eat that. So anyways, I just want you guys to be prepared, because as you move through this program, you'll find that your cravings will change. You'll find that all of a sudden, maybe, like you said, you were craving a hamburger. You weren't craving a donut, though. I mean, I don't know what your, fix is, so,
Candy.
but candy. Okay, but you didn't crave candy, you craved a hamburger.
Protein?
That's my thought.
Yeah.
That's my thought. She wanted the burger.
Yeah, it was a
Solid?
Yeah.
just a meaty, greasy hamburger that
Yeah.
I was craving.
Yeah.
You did a little fat with that? I do, I sometimes think I need a little.
Put some avocado on there, get you good fat, help you balance that out, you betcha. So anyways, I just want to bring that up. Yeasty beasties, anybody with yeast issues, this is going to help them tremendously, because that yeast there again likes to feed on sugar. So as we reduce those yeast bacteria, we're not going to crave nearly as much sugar as we normally did. But anyways, what it does is it creates a habit. It creates a good habit. The next thing I want to bring up is possible detox symptoms. Now before I go through this, I want to ask you a question. If you go to the gym and you start sweating, do you stop?
Stop sweating?
Or do you stop exercising?
Because I sweat.
Right. Okay. So what do you think that sweat is? What's your poisons and
bad stuff.
you're detoxing, right? You're literally detoxing. Same thing in this program. You're all going to be detoxing at one level or another depending on your constitution. So I want you to go ahead and be prepared that there may be some detox symptoms going through this program. Headache, kind of achy, maybe you have a day I just don't feel very good. Maybe your eliminations kind of go wacky back and forth, maybe loose, maybe constipated, do some different things. I just want to forewarn you, because I want you to understand that this is part of the process. And it's good if it happens, because that means your body's functioning and it's kicking out the stuff that no longer serves it and getting rid of it. A good analogy to this is if you look at a backyard pond and it's crystal clear on top, the water is, but there's a lot of like soil and dirt and mud and fish fecal matter and all sorts of stuff at the bottom, right? Well, it's all fine and dandy when it's left alone. Your bodies are all fine and dandy when they're left alone, right? But as soon as you go in there and start stirring up the bottom of that pond and all that stuff starts coming to the top, it's the same thing when we detox. Our body hides toxicity. It finds places to hide it, which is primarily our fat cells, okay? So when we start stirring up those toxins and start getting them released and getting them, in that process, you get to experience the effects of those toxins. And so that's why you may not feel so hot for a day or two. Now I will tell you, if you think it's over and above what it should be or doesn't feel right, please contact me, okay? Don't let yourself go through something and doubt what you're doing. So I can either cheerlead you on, or we can evaluate it and see if it's above or the top, or if we need to adjust anything going on, okay? So my whole thing is we need to move that. By the way, the berberine is important because it gets out the endotoxins. And so that's why sometimes people, when they first start berberine, feel kind of icky. It's because those endotoxins are being pushed out. And that time it takes from it when it's being stirred up to when it's actually pushed out, literally out, you experience that. And that's okay. That's okay. It's just a process. So any questions on detox symptoms or anything you could expect or anything like that?
Is that a quick detox, or does it depend on how much your body has in it, or?
Normally a 36-hour time period is what I look at. If I have something that goes beyond 36 hours, I start to really look at what's happening. So it's called a healing crisis from a natural health perspective. We call it a healing crisis, and which means that your body's healing, but in the meantime, it feels like you're in a crisis, and it really should only be short term. Now, I have had people that I work with that there again, they get in the gym, they see a little bit of sweat, ooh, they're gonna stop. I'm done, I'm getting off, right? Same thing with this program or with cleansing. You start feeling kind of icky and then you stop. Well then, yeah, it's gonna last longer because now you just stirred all that stuff up, your body's getting ready to get rid of it, and you just stop the process. You know, in these situations, we wanna drink more water, we wanna listen to our bodies, we wanna make sure that we're eating the healthiest foods that we possibly can, getting in our protein shakes, keeping that process moving forward. Because the body literally gets excited when you start to clean it up. It's amazing how excited the body gets. It's like, well, it's about time you figure this out. And I will tell you, it will remind you from here on out.
I gave up Dr. Pepper. I used to drink Dr. Pepper a lot.
Yay!
That was 10 years ago. 10 years ago I did it, and I remember that first month, I felt horrible. And there
Yeah.
were days I thought, how am I going to even make it? And
Yeah.
now, I mean, there's been a few times I've accidentally picked up somebody else's drink to take a drink.
Yeah.
I can't go there. It tastes horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful.
Yep. Your body turns on that mechanism of like, okay, it's about time you figure this out, but guess what? We ain't going back, and so we're not letting you put us in that position. It's funny when you think about that. You've got all these little microorganisms in your body, right? That are all like, you know, rooting for you to do the right thing. And then when you finally do, they're just like, it's like with you and your children, you know, like your children finally do something that you told them to do. Like they wash the dishes and you only asked them once or something. You're like, I know you heard me, I know you know how to do it because I've already told you once. The body's kind of like the same way. It's like, hey, I know you know what we're talking about here. You need to be going in and jumping back on. You ain't? You can't cover nothing up with me. So anyways, yes. So the next thing I want to go over with you all is your checklist. And I don't have one here with me. Michaela, would you please go around and grab me a checklist real quick? It was on the clipboard. You put those on there for me earlier. It's the weekly checklist. Can you grab one for me? That would be great. Make sure I'm covering everything here real quick while we wait for her.
What is it?
You just want one?
Yes, honey. Yeah, it's what I filled out for you guys tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you, yeah, I'm sorry, when you did your, we did your BTAs this tonight.
Yes.
Right there. Okay, that's what I need you guys to pull out. This right here. Do you have that, Sarah?
Well, I have it right here.
Okay, but I need you to fill this out, or find this real quick, because we're gonna talk about this. In my stack of paperwork. If all works out, I'm gonna have a little notebook available for you guys to get where you can just start filing your paperwork, because I can see we're already at week 2. And even last night, people were like shuffling around. I'm like, okay, we need to organize. Shiree had an excellent idea, you know, on how to organize it, so I'm excited about getting that going. Did you find it yet, Sarah?
Did I not give it back?
Or did you maybe already put it in the box? Maybe? Here, I tell you what. All right, here.
Oh, you know what? It's
Make sure we didn't get it. This one is. Question where that went, huh?
Got it.
Got it. Okay, perfect timing. All right. So, every week we are going to be filling out this weekly IN.Form checklist. Okay? This weekly IN.Form checklist is something that's going to help us evaluate our BioTracker assessment numbers, measurements when we do measurements on week 4, week 8, week 12. And it's also going to help me help you more and kind of help keep you accountable to the things that you need to do every week. So every week when you come in, we, either myself or Shiree, will be filling out your numbers on this particular form. And then we will be giving you this form, and of course you're going to take your numbers from this evening, and you're gonna fill in your numbers in the correlated week 1, week 2, week 3 in your book, okay? Because you're gonna be turning this back into me at the end of the night. So you'll transpose those numbers from here into your book, all right? The next thing that you're gonna do is we're gonna go through the right-hand side and we're going to answer some questions. First of all, did you read your homework? So if you would have gotten the email, one of the things I put on the email, your homework was to reread module number 1. So you'll just simply put a yes or a no right there, so that way you, I can know if you actually looked over your homework or not. What was your SMART goal? Now we're talking about SMART goals tonight, so hold that thought. You'll be starting that next week. Tonight what I want for you to do is I asked you last week to set up a 90-day goal for yourself, or a 90-day idea of where you would like to see yourself in 90 days. That's what I would like you to fill in here, and or you can turn it over or fill it at the bottom. There's really not a lot of room, but I would like to know individually from each one of you what your 90-day goal is for being here, so I can help facilitate helping you in as much as possible. And of course, we're going to talk about SMART goals tonight, and then you'll start filling that in for each week, and we'll explain that later on. The next one is average H2O daily. So how many ounces of water did you get in this week? That's what we're looking for. Yeah, per day. Yeah, per day. Sorry, thank you, Sarah. So how many ounces of water on average per day did we get in? Okay, 60 to 70 ounces, 90 to 95, whatever it may be. Protein shakes in. How many times a day are we supposed to be doing protein shakes? Twice. And how many scoops?
2 scoops.
2. So 2 times 2. Okay. So we want to ask you if you've been getting your protein shakes in. Now, let's say 5 days out of the week you got them, but the other 2 days you weren't so great about it. Just put 5 out of 7, or 3 out of 7, or maybe I just did it once every day. You know, whatever it is, but just kind of give me a general idea of how well you did with your protein shakes that week. The next one is the berberine, probiotic, and cardio pack. Now, how many times a day are we supposed to take the berberine?
3 times.
Yep, 3 times. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the probiotic?
At night. Or, with it.
Same.
The
Same, you bet.
But the pack is at night.
Right. Trick question. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the probiotic. So there again, you can write in there, yeah, I did it 5 out of 7 days, or I got them all in, or I just took them twice a day for the 7 days, however that is.
Has the white one, the probiotic?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
It tastes horrible.
Oh,
Are you
tell
sure?
me that, I haven't tried it.
The white one? Are you sure not that it's not the yellow, the berberine taste?
Maybe it's the berberine
You
in
mean
it.
it?
Yeah.
I left it at work. But
Yeah.
it got stuck in my throat, and then Justin said that he had regurgitated some food and it came up.
Yeah, the berberine, I had another couple try to put them in the protein shake because they didn't want to take the capsules, and then we just went back to taking them. So my thought is on that, there's 2 things going on. There is an upper digestion issue going on with both of you, okay, if that's happening. And second, and which we'll talk about more in week 4. And second of all, take that like right before you start eating, or layer it in your food. So that way you've got something going in before and something going in after, and you just kind of layer it.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you can take it right before as long as you start eating, but you want to take it before and then wait 15 minutes. You don't want to do that.
Yeah,
So however that works, layer it, and then that way you won't have the,
that's what I did today, is
Yeah.
I made sure I had something before and after.
yes, perfect, perfect. So the last thing is the cardio kit. And of course, the cardio kit, how many times a day do we take this?
Once
Once a day. And when do we take it?
at night.
At night, so either at dinner time or at bedtime. And of course, I've already told you guys, but at week number 5, we'll talk about why that's so important to take it at that time period. But you'll be taking this once a day in the evening time sometime.
Did you say with food?
You can take it with food, yes?
It doesn't matter, it doesn't do what we
No, it doesn't, no, it doesn't have that same strong, astringent taste of berberine. Yeah. Now, I personally sometimes have a hard time taking it right before I go to bed. You know, I've had people tell me they feel like they kind of burp it up a little bit, or, you know, and that there again is kind of an upper digestional thing that's going on, you know, depending on what kind of food you ate that night before. So you'll play that by ear. If you feel like it's coming up or it is irritating you, then just take it with dinner, you know, and that way then you don't have to deal with that. All right, so in that spot, of course, you're gonna tell me how many times you took the cardio pack. The next one is for food journal input. Now, of course, this week is not applicable, but next week will be, because that is one of the things that we will be talking about tonight is your food journals. And I'll be giving you all a food journal as well. The next one is mood and energy. Maybe the same, maybe a little bit better, or maybe no, I feel cranky, I don't know. But just kind of tracking your mood and energy. This is also kind of to help you think. Because sometimes things happen for us, and it's so gradual that we don't even realize it. And sometimes other people have to tell us before we even realize it.
I think that this week, and I noticed it with taking the probiotic and the berberine, that I thought that I had a increase in having more energy.
More energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that in the evening.
Yeah,
Because usually I want to come home and take a nap,
yeah.
which I don't ever get to. I just feel that way.
Yeah. You just
But-
daydream about it for
yeah.
a short few minutes.
But I
Yeah.
haven't had that.
And I would say that is the number one thing I hear most people say to me on the IN.Form program is that I have a little more energy. It's kind of weird. It's like I was able to do something I normally dread doing, or I was able to go a little bit longer in the evening time than when I'm normally used to going, or I wasn't even thinking about bed, and all of a sudden it was bedtime. So that is very, very normal, and that does have a lot to do with that berberine and probiotic combination, just because of what they're doing at cleaning up the gut. So most definitely. The next one is bowel eliminations. Now I am preparing you. We talk about poop a lot in this class. I want everybody to say poop.
Food.
Okay?
How are you pooping?
Yep, how are you pooping today? So it's very important to know what's coming out, how often it's coming out, what it looks like, and all of those good things. We're going to talk about that more next week, but I'm going to let you guys get prepared for it so that we can all shake off our uncomfortabilities with talking about what comes out the back end, okay? But we do talk about it a lot. So in the bowel elimination area, maybe telling me, I'm going once a day, I'm going 3 times a day, I'm going 3 times a week, loose, hard, whatever kind of information you're willing to give me, I'll take it. I just don't want any samples, please. You can do like my daughter did one time. I was out in the hayfield and I was doing something and she took a picture of what was going on.
No, thank you.
I'm like, well, that's great information. Exercise. So did we get any exercise in? I exercised three times at 30 minutes this week, or I climbed more stairs, or I parked my car at the end of the grocery store parking lot. I mean, just what are you doing to get more movement in? That's what I want to know. And protein within 1 hour. We know, of course, we're supposed to get our protein within 20 to 60 minutes of waking up in the morning. Did we do this? Yes, I did it 4 out of 7 days, or whatever it may be. Did you get a snack and meal in every 2 to 3 hours? There again, right in there, kind of how often you got to do that. I find in the beginning this is really difficult for people, so just remember, progress, not perfection. Accomplishments. I think it's always very important that we are looking at our accomplishments and what we are achieving. So even if it was, I don't know, I got my cardio pack in every single night. I mean, as simple as that. Or, I feel like I had a little more energy at night, like Jennifer was just saying. I mean, it could be just simple things, but look for the things that you're accomplishing. Because we want to focus on what you're doing opposed to what you're soon to be not doing. Okay, that's really important. And I do have a space there to write down challenges, just getting all my greens in or staying on a schedule. That does help me figure out if there's things that I need to do to assist you with your program and what's going on. And of course, list any additional supplements taken. As we go through this program, I'm going to be talking about different supplements, food enzymes, and Solstick Revive, and Stress J, and NutriCalm, all sorts of things. So I want you to keep up with me on any supplements that you may be adding to your program. And of course, any comments and or concerns will be discussed privately. And of course, what you're going to do after you get these numbers filled out and after you get your information in, you will turn that into the inbox in the back of the room. And then that way I can have a week to look that over and get the information that may be helpful to you. Any questions on that? Got that?
Yep.
All right. Last thing. Dun-da-da. Not last thing, but last thing before we get started.
On that AM protein, is that the shake?
It can be.
Okay.
It can be, or it can be some eggs. It just needs to be protein. You need to get in protein within an hour. And when we get into the hormone module, I'm going to tell you why it's so important that we, especially as females that are no longer going through puberty and are beyond that, why it's so important for us to get that protein in the morning. If you have a hormonal imbalance of any way, kind, shape, or form, it could possibly be due to your protein intake and how you're doing that. So getting that protein first thing in the morning is really, really important. So the next thing that I just gave out to you guys real quick, I'm going to have you turn it over now. Don't look anymore. No,
I didn't get to look.
you didn't look at it. Okay, all right.
No, that's okay.
So this is a little quick reference nutritional guide that I put together to help you remember what you're supposed to do each day. I know sometimes this feels really overwhelming when we first do this program, and I want to make it as simple as I possibly can for you. So I gave you these little cards to post on your refrigerator, post on your bathroom mirror, wherever you need, just to kind of really start soaking in what you need to be doing each day. And of course, it's telling us how many meal proteins we should be having in one day. Sarah, can you tell me how many meal proteins we're supposed to have a day?
I can guess.
Guess.
2.
Almost. Got it? 3, yeah. 3 meal proteins a day. And how many snack proteins?
At least 2.
2. Yep, exactly. So 3 protein meals and 2 protein snacks per day. What about vegetables? Sarah, how many vegetables a day are we supposed to get in? Putting you on the spot. See, this is better when it was in a bigger
6.
6! Perfect! Ding, 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 ding. Jennifer, how many ounces of greens per day?
5.
5. There we go. How many healthy fats a day?
1.
No.
Oh, it's more?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Healthy fats.
5.
5. 5 healthy fats per day. Really important one. 1 dairy optional. And can either one of you tell me the formula for how much water you should be drinking per day?
Half your body weight in ounces.
Yes, up to 100 ounces per
Too
day.
much.
A lot. Yes. So the other tips on here, of course, is getting your protein in within 20 to 60 minutes of waking. We're going to aim for 100 grams of protein per day. We're going to talk about that more in week 4. Water between meals. We're going to talk about that tonight. No eating past 8 p.m. if you're a normal bedtimer. You can adjust that if you do go to bed later. And then, of course, move your body. So put this up somewhere where it can be a good reminder for you. All right. So let's talk about the DIET word. That's not it. There it is. Okay. So if you notice in this word, what does it spell, the first 3 letters?
Diet.
Diet. Right, exactly. Jennifer, tell me, when I say the word diet to you, you're going on a diet, what's the first thing that comes to your brain?
Eating smaller portions and healthy.
Okay, eating small portions and healthy, yeah. What about you, Sarah?
Sugar.
No sugar.
Yeah. No
Okay.
fun.
No fun. Keep going. No fun. What else?
I have to exercise.
I have to exercise. Okay, what else?
No cake.
No cake! No cake! Last
Watching
night
what
we...
you eat.
Watching what I eat. Last night I had one that said torture. One that said something about being sad, you know. I mean, just all of these like negative emotions come up when we hear the word diet, right?
Accountable.
And so, yeah, accountable, which is actually good, but not maybe in a diet per se. So one of the things I like to bring up at this point in our foundation laying is to get rid of that word. Do not tell anybody you're on a diet, because you're not. You're on a healthy nutritional plan. That's what you're on. You're on a healthy nutritional plan. We are not on a diet. We're not here to be on a diet, because with diets, what ends up happening is you go, you do your diet, and then what ends up happening 6 months later, 3 months later, it all comes back. You get off of it, you out the window.
Have to make it a way of life.
Yeah, this is all about creating lifestyle awareness for a healthy life, which means not just in the 13 weeks. It means in the 13 weeks after that, and the 13 weeks after that, and 13 years from that. kind of get my picture? So we really want to start working in our brain about not feeling like we're on a restricted plan, because we're not. There's a lot of food. It's a lot of food that we can eat. Lots of options, okay? So diet to me is a destructive, industrialized example of total health. That's literally what it is. From the media to our celebrities to all sorts of influences that we have, we all feel like we should have to go on a diet to be able to be an acceptable weight for our BMI, or to have an acceptable size to us compared to such and such and such. That's the thing to do. That's how we get healthy. A diet is not healthy. A diet will continue to starve your body. So we are not doing that. That's not us. That's not what this program's about. So I want to be sure that you are not using this word in any way, shape, or form in relationship to what you're doing or what this program is about. Because it's not. All right? It's not. The problem that we have is, like I said, in our society, it's constantly bombarded with diets. Oh, this new fad, and this new, oh, I know what somebody else said. They said, doing something weird again. That's what they said last night. I thought that was funny. Doing some kind of weird thing.
I noticed with my younger son, when we told him, you know, well, Mom and Dad have got class.
Yeah.
Is it a diet class? And I've said, no, it's more of an overall wellness class.
Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Because you definitely don't want your son or your daughters to think that you're going on a diet.
Right.
Because that, there again, institutes an idea in their head that that's what's expected of our society. One of our most popular female celebrities in this country, who makes a ton of money, has gone on many, many diets over the years. And she's always getting on, well, doesn't have a direct show anymore, but getting out there and going, hey, I found the one that works. I lost such and such pounds. And then it's like 2 or 3 years later, and then, hey, I found the one that works. And bless her heart, I know she's really trying to help people, but in actual reality, it's really not, because then we look at this person who is a celebrity and who is somebody that you kind of look to, like, oh, well, they must know, they got all this money, so they must know what to do or what the right thing is, you know? And the simple thing is, it impregnates our mind with something that is not healthy for us. That's not the way to get long-term healthy. If you have to go from one diet to the next diet to the next diet, your body is not happy at all. So we really need to lose this mindset that a diet is how we get healthy, because it's not. It can actually make you more unhealthy. And I am a personal experience of this. Before I was having my symptoms with MS, I was on Jenny Craig. Full blown. My husband at the time was overweight quite a bit, had a hard time bending over, just tying his shoes, said to me one day, Shar, I got to do something about this. I'm like, okay, well, let's go do something. I probably had, now that I look back at it, I didn't really have any pounds to lose. I just needed to lean up is what I needed to do. But I was a little, more plump, And I said, well, let's go. Let's figure this out. And he did great. He lost lots of weight really fast. I, on the other hand, it took me a little bit longer, because it does for females. But I was also eating these boxed packaged meals. I was reducing my calories to a ridiculously low amount, where I almost felt like I was passing out several times. I was like, oh, well, we need to get this last 2 pounds off for you to fit in your range. The range for me is anorexic. I'm not small bone. The range for me is anorexic, literally. In fact, I saw pictures of myself a few years after when I got down to that weight, and I looked sick. I looked sick. And it was no wonder I was going in and out of the doctor for unexplainable UTIs. In and out, in and out, in and out. And pretty soon I was in the doctor's offices for potential MS, which was right after endometriosis potential. All these different things. And I see it now. I see the bigger picture now. But what ended up happening is I was starving. I was literally starving. The food I was eating was not food. It was some kind of processed mush that wasn't allowing any nutrients to be absorbed by my body. And I was on so few calories that I was even starving even more. So this is what ends up happening a lot of times with us when we get into these diets. And I'm very grateful and thankful for the Jenny Craig experience. I learned a lot. One thing I learned a lot about was just social experiences and how everything we do is centered around food. And you know, there's just a lot of little different things like that. So I'm very grateful. But at the same time, I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's how I got sick. That's how all that stuff started. So I just want to be sure that I really drive this home, that we need to drop the diets, because that's not what we're doing. Okay.
You know, Tom Hanks, I don't know, in the last few years, he came out and said that he had diabetes.
Yeah.
And that it was from all the different roles that he played through the years of having to gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, and he wasn't eating the right things.
Really? That's powerful, because that makes sense. That makes sense. In.Form teaches us to break out of destructive influences and how to have a proper relationship with food and our bodies. And this is important for us because we're passing this down to our children and our grandchildren, nieces and nephews, whoever they are, we're passing this down. So it's really important for us to start making that switch and not allowing our continued generations to suffer with these negative, unproductive thoughts of diets. All right, moving on. So I have a little equation that I want to show you all real quick. I am going to give you the healthy weight loss In.Form strategy. Okay. I know a lot of people come to this because they want to lose weight, and I will never turn you down, but I'm going to help you change your idea of what it takes to turn it down. What do y'all need?
We're going outside.
For what?
Play.
No, you're not. I can't watch you. You need to stay here. Can't help that. With In.Form. Okay, so if you increase your H2O, you increase your water, guess what happens? Your body fat percent goes down. So if you're looking to reduce body fat, one of the best ways to start doing that is increase that H2O. Okay? Makes you thirsty. Now, if you want to lose weight permanently, not this in, on, in, off, on, off type thing, right? If you want to lose weight, what you need to do is you need to increase your muscle mass. How do we increase our muscle mass?
Exercising.
Exercise and protein. Exactly. So if you want healthy weight loss, we need to increase our muscle mass. And when we do that, guess what happens? Our weight goes down. I need you guys to be a little more quiet. Kella, you know Asher's password to his computer? See if you can get that on so they can watch a movie, please. Thank you, honey. So here's the deal. Initially, when you gain muscle mass, you're going to gain weight because muscle weighs more than fat. This right here is 1 pound of fat. And I'll show you in week 4 the difference of a piece of steak and a piece of fat. 5 pounds difference. Muscle is a lot smaller than this, a lot denser, but it weighs more. The other thing that happens is when you have more muscle mass, you burn more calories. Yes. So the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn. You'll actually see on your BioTracker assessments you do every week, when your muscle mass goes up, you can eat more calories. The right kind of calories, of course, but you can literally eat more calories. There's no calorie restriction going on here because we've got to feed that muscle mass, all right? So this is our formula. The thing is, once you keep that muscle mass up, once you keep that hydration up, that weight will come in and it will stick to where it needs to be at. And we'll talk about this a little bit more thoroughly in some future classes. But this is the formula for healthy weight loss with In.Form. And it may take a bit for that weight, and I'll go right back to this too in a moment, but it may take a bit for that weight to come off. But once your body gets used to you feeding that muscle mass, it'll start to drop it. Nettie was my perfect example of taking the class the second time. She lost 3 pounds, but she lost 11 inches. What would you rather do? Would you rather lose 11 inches or would you rather lose 3 pounds? Inches, you betcha. Thank you, Jennifer. You bet. All right, so that's important to know. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our manual. So get out your participant manual. Page number 17 is going to talk about goal setting. Turn it, away from you. Oh, okay.
You can keep it on me.
Okay. Too much, sir. There we go. All right, cool. Now I'll stand right here. Yay. Okay. All right, so goal setting. Let's go to page 18, in the good old days. So basically I'm going to run through this just real quick. You guys will have homework to read through this, so I'm just going to highlight some of the things that I think are really important. But in page 18, it talks about in the good old days, you know, the purpose of food is to satisfy hunger and to give you pleasure. After hunger is satisfied, more food is actually a hindrance to our health. The thing is that we are no longer in great-grandma's era anymore. I mean, we got busy lives. We got things going on. We've socially upped our energy and our focus to a high level of sociality that we didn't never have before. We're balancing school, we're balancing work, we're balancing the children's activities, you know, maybe our social groups, churches, things like that. We got all these things going on. So what's happening is we're no longer eating at home. And we're no longer creating or making any nutritious, wholesome meals. And if we are, it's like stick it in the microwave and then let's go. We got to be at a soccer practice in 10 minutes, eat it on the way, right? As Americans eat more and more meals away from home, they're eating larger portions. This is the other thing that's happening, okay? But let me back up just one bit. So the Centers of Disease Control reported in 1960 that 1/4 of the money we spent on food was out to eat. In 1960, 25%. In 2001, that number went to half. In 2001, the average American was spending half of their food monies on out-to-eat meals. Anybody have any guesses as to where it is now? 75, 80. That's what the group said last night. Probably about 75 to 80%, and I would probably agree. The other thing is portions are getting larger. In September last year, I had an informer who worked in, I guess, the kitchen and dining, and anyway, she did place setting and plates and things like that, cabinetry. And she was telling me about how over the years, our plates have literally gotten bigger. So the plates that our grandmas would have purchased to take home and use are no longer, are like our little saucers now. And we've gotten into these bigger plates, so our portions have gotten bigger. So what happens is then we think we got to fill the plate because we don't want any empty space on the plate. And it's a psychological thing for us. It can be this size of a plate and be the same amount of food on this size of a plate, but this size of a plate we think we're getting cheated. And then what about going to Subway? How many times can you buy the other 6-inch for another $1? Who really needs a 12-inch sub sandwich for lunch? What about our dollar menu meals? I know they're everywhere. Low or inexpensive menu pieces just on even our restaurants. You can go to a little section, you know, where they like half portions. And, you know, or, you know, they really narrow it down, you know, with the pricing. But then what they do then is they say if you want the full plate, it's only $1.50 more. You might as well do that. Take it home, which you probably never do.
Right.
Or you're doing it at midnight. Because, oh, I got that food. I might as well go ahead and eat that. I don't want to go waste. That was one thing I grew up with my mom. My mom was from that baby boomer age where you don't ever want anything to go to waste. And so we had to eat everything on our plate because, you know, there was some little child in Africa that was starving. And, you know, I was much more fortunate than them, and so I better sit there and eat my food. And it's funny because my mom has always been that way, and she still would be to this day if she had options on her food. And what she does, because, you know, I took her a pint of ice cream, healthy ice cream, by the way. She didn't know it when I last saw her, and she literally ate that whole pint. I mean, it wouldn't let anybody take anything away from her until it was done. But the whole point is that, you know, we have this mindset where we have to finish everything on our plate also. So all these different things that we've been kind of indoctrinated with, they're just so unhealthy for us that it's time we drop those things, along with that D-I-E-T word. One of the primary goals of the IN.Form system is to teach you how to eat better tasting food, achieve your weight goals, and save money and time in the process. This is one other thing I hear a lot. Shar, it costs too much to eat healthy. It costs too much. Well, yeah, it does when you're buying organic Doritos or organic cookies. But literally, when you start shopping properly, you will start spending less money.
I noticed that this last week is usually, my grocery bill is about $300.
Yes.
And I think that it was about 200.
Yes. 300 to 200, but healthier foods, cleaner foods, and you're actually saving money, which you can put those extra monies towards your IN.Form products and your IN.Form shakes.
Right.
That was my point when we talked about this in the beginning. You literally will start seeing where the benefit of the products is so important. All right. You can do it. You really can. You're in charge of your mouth. What goes in your mouth? That's all I'm going to say. You're in charge. It's not Justin's fault what goes in your mouth. It's not whoever you have accountable to you, Sarah, that goes in your mouth. Shireen's not in charge. Although it might be a good thing that she is in charge, you know, because she's got this down.
You're responsible for what comes out, so why are you not responsible for what goes
Thank
in?
you. That's good. I'm going to use that if it's okay with you. You're responsible for what comes out, so you need to be responsible for what goes in. I love it. That's great. Page number 19. I've got a handout for you guys on this. Now, I know it's already in your book, but I'm giving you an extra one to put it on your refrigerator or wherever it would be most accessible to you. And it is the hunger scale. So this week, one of the things we will be doing is we will be accessing our level of hunger before we eat each time. Now, we're going to go ahead and shoot to 4, 5, and 6 first, because 4, 5, and 6 is where we really want to hang, okay? We want to be in the zone of number 4. You feel hungry, but signs and symptoms are manageable. Or number 5, you feel neutral, though hunger is on the horizon. And number 6, you're comfortable and you know you can eat with control. This is when we want to eat. This right here. We don't want to be eating when we're empty, feeling faint or sick because we're so hungry.
You stuff your mouth full of food and you can't get enough.
Exactly. You're starving, your stomach is growling, you're easily irritated, edgy, ravenous, aka hangry, angry and hungry all at the same time. You're hungry, you feel a little low on energy, and you're slightly uncomfortable. We want to stay out of these zones. We also want to stay out of your feeling full, you need to stop eating or don't start eating yet. Feeling too full, you got a few too many bites, you're uncomfortable, you're full, you're bloated, and then of course then we have the Thanksgiving Day bloated feeling, where you've got to go in the other room and unbutton your pants, and hopefully you got a big enough shirt that you can cover up what you got going on, and you just sit there. We don't want that, okay? Shiree brought up a really great point last night, and as a personal trainer, she's just got so much great information. I'm so happy she's a part of this program because of that. But she was saying the other thing is for the people who eat twice a day, the thing that they're doing is they're eating too much twice a day, and that's why they'll go 5, 6 hours and still not really feel hungry. And then of course that messes with your metabolism and it messes with your blood sugars. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure when we're eating a meal or snacking every 2 to 3 hours that they are portion controlled, so that way we don't feel like, oh, it's been 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Shar says I'm supposed to do something else, I'm just too full. And that means you're probably eating too much prior hand, okay? And or your body's kind of getting used to it. We can always assess that and kind of figure out the best way to look at that. Because some people, literally, their body's just not used to eating that much, and it takes a bit for their metabolism to kick up. And I will guarantee, I've had this happen to me many times when I jump back on and off the program. I'm a person, if I didn't have to eat it all, I would be happy. I don't like to take the time. I don't want to bother with it. I got too many things going on. It's just easier for me not to eat. In fact, back in the day before I started IN.Form, that's all. I wouldn't eat in the morning. I wouldn't eat until 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd go all day. And here I am, a natural health consultant. Pretty crazy, huh? So for me to get my body to start eating, it took a bit. But then once I got that fuel in on a regular basis, what ended up happening is I ended up starting getting hungrier. Where I'm like, ooh, what is that? Ooh, hunger. I didn't know what that felt like. Because your body is like, hey, 15 minutes, we eat, let's go. So anyway, page number 20. I'm not going to go over this a whole lot, but I am going to tell you something real quick. Over 80% of all American people try to eat healthy. 80% try to eat healthy. And over 90% of them fail. Over 90% of them fail. Thankfully, we're all not in that category. We're the ones that are going to achieve it because we're putting the tools in, we're putting the knowledge in, we're putting the right nutrition in, we're doing everything we need to do, and we're going to create that for ourselves. One thing I forgot to say last night, I'll make sure I say it tonight, it takes 21 days to create a habit. 21 days only to create a habit, to get rid of one or build one. It takes 90 days to build a lifestyle. That's one of the reasons why this program is a 90-day program, because it takes us literally 90 days to create it as being a lifestyle. Where you don't even think about it. Where you know, where'd my Brazil nuts go? Ah! I had Brazil nuts. Where you grab your Brazil nuts out the door like I did today. We have Brazil nuts in the cabinet. I need some Brazil. You know, but it doesn't even faze me. I don't even think about it. When you're grabbing to go out the door, you're grabbing nuts. but it's a lifestyle. This particular page talks about your 6 sources of influence, all the different things that we need to back us up as we move forward. We've got to have our motivation. We've got to have our goal, which you guys are writing down for me tonight. You've got to have some social motivation, maybe other people with you that are kind of doing the same thing. We need structure. We need a structured system of some sort, something we can follow instead of just winging it and hope we get the right results. And instructional motivation as well, and that's what some of these classes are about. The accountability, the support, the motivation, all of those things come with these classes, and that's one of the reasons why we've been so successful with the IN.Form program, is because all of those things are tied together. And of course, you need to be your own social scientist. You need to evaluate what works good for you, what doesn't work good for you. What works good for you, Jennifer, may not work good for Sarah. But guess what? You now have the platform to figure that out. Jennifer and Justin, your husband, may not need to do something that you need to do, or vice versa. But that's what's cool about this, is we've got the platform to make sure we establish you getting to know who you are and what your needs are. My needs are much different than the rest of my family's. In fact, my grocery bill is different than their grocery bill. And I'm not saying theirs is unhealthy, because a large portion are all vegetarian. But I am not. At this point in my life, it doesn't work for me to be vegetarian. Maybe one day, but for right now, it doesn't. So anyway, find out what works for you. That's what this is going to do. Let's go ahead and flip our page, and we're going to talk about food journals. So I'm going to give everybody a food journal tonight. Now, I do realize that this may not be the most accessible thing to do, but I want to get you started thinking about a food journal. It's really important that you have this and you start working on filling this out this week. Reason being is, by doing this, it's going to help me help you. This is a group class, but I like to individualize my attention as much as possible to each one of you to figure out how we can tweak your program to make it more effective for you, okay? So filling out the food journal is very, very helpful, all right? And it's really, really simple. And of course, in the very beginning, it tells you there again how many proteins, how many vegetables, how many fats, all that good stuff. So you got a little reminder there. Small enough to fit in your purse or throw in the console of the truck or whatever you need to do. But you got these little blocks where you block off when you've had your meal protein, or when you've had your oils and your fats. You know, your water, each little droplet at the bottom represents 10 ounces, okay? And then of course we've got this other list. Other lists could include how many steps you had. Oh, actually there is pedometer. Pedometer steps are all in there also. But other could be maybe your mood. Maybe you had a headache that day. Maybe you could stay up later for some reason. Your energy was just better. So use that spot to put in anything special and unique about you. All right? Maybe your cycle started, you didn't feel so great. So put that in there, But if these things happen, And if we see consistent things happening, I can look back at your food journal and I can say, okay, all right, well, Jennifer, you're telling me you've got headaches, but you're only getting in 2 meal proteins and 1 snack protein. And then so does that mean you're eating every 2 to 3 hours? What's happening? Or we may get on the bio tracker and we may be like, okay, why are your hydration numbers not going up? And I'm looking at your little droplets, and you're either low or you're good, but yet you're not absorbing your water potentially. And if you're not absorbing your water, I mean, it's one thing to drink water, but water needs to get into the cells. That's where it's most effective. So then we're going to evaluate how you're drinking your water. And maybe you need a little push to actually absorb your water. I don't know. Okay? So use these food journals.
Push to absorb water.
There's certain supplements that you can take that will actually help you absorb more water. Ionic minerals, Soul Stick Revive, which you're getting a sample of tonight, coconut water, all of those things are going to help you actually start absorbing your water properly. And or it could be the kind of water you're putting in, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. There's also several apps on your phone that you can use to track this as well. If you're interested in doing something like that, Shiree is excellent to talk to about that because she's got the ins and outs on that really, really well. Just be careful of the ones that count calories. I don't want you concentrating on calories. It's not about calories. Any questions on the food journal? Page number 22 tells you all sorts of things about what people tend to track. And I'll let you guys go through that on your own. But, the more you track, the better. Number 23. All right, so fail is a 4-letter word. We are not here to fail. We're here to be successful. As I said in the beginning of our talk tonight, I said we are going to lay the foundation for getting us to where we want to go in 90 days. And tonight is a big part of that. What we need to do each week is we need to be doing SMART goals. S-M-A-R-T, SMART goals. Your goal needs to be specific. I'm going to drink more water. Well, that's great, but it needs to be measurable. I'm going to shoot for getting 90 ounces of water in a day. It needs to be specific and measurable. All right? Don't say I'm going to get more exercise. Say I'm going to exercise 2 times this week because I'm not exercising at all right now. All right? Accountable. This is something that you do, not somebody else does. You do. Okay? Something you are accountable for, not anybody else in your life. Realistic. If you're not exercising at all, don't say you're going to go get a gym membership and be at the gym 5 days a week for an hour. Don't do that. That's sabotage. That's self-sabotage. We're not doing that here. Be realistic. If you know that you just can't drink the 90 ounces of water, even though you should, but 75 kind of sounds doable because you're only drinking 30 before, then do something that's realistic, okay? And of course, time bound. These goals, these SMART goals are for each week, okay? They're for each week. So next week, if you remember on that weekly checklist, we had put in your SMART goal. I'm going to be asking you to tell me what your SMART goal was for the week. Remember, nobody has ever done anything big in this world without having some kind of a plan. This is part of our plan. We need to have a plan. And this also takes us out of the, oh my gosh, this is a 13-week program. How am I going to get through this? Oh my goodness. It takes us out of that. We're going to break it down week to week. Week to week. Let's just get through this week. Let's just get through this week. All right? And then next week, you know what? We'll look at next week. But let's get through this week. And this is going to help us do that. So you're not thinking 6 weeks down the road, how am I going to do this or that? Let's not worry about it. You got an event in 6 weeks. You got a wedding to go to. Let's not worry about it right now. Okay? We'll get there when we get there. All right? And then we'll make a plan when we get there. Whatever that may be for you at that point in time. So that's the other thing I like about this, is it breaks it down. It doesn't feel so overwhelming. Oh, I gotta do all this. No, just this week. Just this week we're gonna do this. And then next week we'll do something else. Okay? All right. So page number 24. We'll just go forward. All right, so at the end of each module, you're going to have this little sheet here, which is for your homework for the week. Of course, one of the big things you're going to be doing is you're going to be setting your SMART goal, all right? So you can write it down now if you have it right now, But, take the next 24 hours to think about what you want to do and make sure you get something down. Don't wait till the weekend to get something down. Get it down immediately so you can start it immediately, all right? We're going to read our module number 2. That's part of our homework. Create a solid meal plan, or a solid plan rather. We're going to keep our food journal. We're going to check our hunger scale. We're going to plan to eat smaller, balanced meals every 2 to 3 hours. Identify our 6 personal sources of influence. And if you haven't started on your In.Form Metabolic Age Kit yet, start it now, okay? If you haven't gotten it ordered, we definitely need to get it ordered and get it started ASAP. The thing I wanted to bring up about that real quick, and I used this analogy last night, and it came to me over this weekend after I had gone to an In.Form coach camp in Indianapolis that I decided to stay for. And one of the gals that was teaching this class, she talked about how our products are tools. She gave me an analogy. She's a hairdresser, right? And she always had said to her boss, I don't want to sell product. I don't want to sell product. That didn't work for me. And then her boss said, okay, that's fine. So let me have your curling iron, and let me have your shampoo, and let me have that leave-in conditioner or that mousse or whatever it is. I want all that. Now, I got clients coming in today. I want you to go ahead and help them out. And it dawned on her, it's like, wow, I'm not selling anything. These are tools. If you want to recreate something when it comes to a hairstyle, you got to use the same tools. If you want to recreate your body into a healthy transformation, you've got to use your tools. These are your tools. They're going to help you get to where you want to go. Okay? And so we need to think about that not as medicine. If you tell me, what about that medicine I need to take? No, don't talk to me like that. These are herbs. These are your tools. Okay? These are to help you get to where you want to go quicker, faster, more efficiently, and with less stress on your brain. Okay? Because you don't have to overcome so much in your own head. Because these are going to help that gut with the brain. All right? So think of them as your tools. It's important we have the right tools. I used another analogy last night. If you're a baker and you use a mixer, and you use a mixer where the little blender pieces keep falling out, or where maybe, it just doesn't speed up right or doesn't go fast enough. Anyway, when you don't use the proper tools, you don't get the proper results. Then you have to go in a different direction. If you're going to build a deck, but you don't have the hammer, you don't have the nails, you don't have the level, how are you going to build a deck with your hands? You've got to have the tools to get to where you want to go. Your products are your tools, and they need to be of the best quality possible. And I know that the Nature Sunshine ones are the best quality possible, and that's why I use them and have been using them for over 20 years. They've got the best quality, they've got the best testing equipment, and then they're just make sure that you actually are getting what you're paying for. That's the other thing. I want to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. And that's why using the Nature Sunshine In.Form Clinically Studied Program products, tools, is so important to getting you where you need to go. If you want to have that weight loss, if you want to have the triglycerides come down, if you want your body fat to come down, if you want your metabolic age to come down, put some tools in there, and that will help you get there faster. Does that make sense? Awesome. Okay. Next thing, real quick, we are on the downhill stretch. Water. Water is super important. All right? So here is a formula. Here's a formula on how to drink the best water. Now here's a little handout that Jerry Ann did for us last season. But I'm going to tell you my formula for drinking water. This kind of gives you some, bit by bit, hour by hour things that happen. The best way to hydrate your cells is to drink 4 to 6 ounces of water every 20 to 30 minutes. 4 to 6 ounces of water every 20 to 30 minutes. That is the best way to hydrate your cells. When you drink a lot of water at once, Shar says I need to drink 90 ounces of water a day, so I'm going to go ahead and put down 2 of these right now and get a head start. That is not going to hydrate your cells. That is just going to cause you to pee a lot sooner than what you would have before. So by drinking 4 to 6 ounces every 20 to 30 minutes, you're actually going to start giving your body time to hydrate. If you put a bunch in all at once, it's just going to flush it through to the kidneys. The water bodies and go, okay, what do I do with this? Okay, all right, kidneys, here it comes. But if it's small amounts, incremental amounts, the body will, oh, great, well, you take the hydration, go to these cells, go to these cells. And it's going to love you for it, all right? You also may find that some of your hunger symptoms, thank you, woo. Hunger symptoms are actually thirst symptoms. It just gets kind of combobbled in our brain after a while when we don't drink enough water. And then finally, eventually, I gotta have water. I'm not hungry, I'm just thirsty. All right? The other thing is, do not drink water with your meals. Therefore, any other liquids with your meals. If you need a little bit of water to take the berberine and the probiotic or the cardio pack, that's fine. Couple sips of water, get it down, finish your food. But when you drink water with your meals or any other liquids, you literally are hindering your proper digestion. That water gets in there, mixes with the gastric juices and the enzymes and all the things that help you break down your food, absorb your food, and send your food on out. But if you drink water, it dilutes that. And therefore, that's a lot of times one of the reasons why people literally may have some acid reflux. Is because they put too much water in there, and water is a neutral balance. We're going to talk about week 4, the process of digestion from your eyes, yes I said eyes, all the way down. Because digestion starts with your eyes and your brain, not with your stomach. Okay?
So, what do you recommend on, like, whenever you sit down to drink? Let's just say that I went to a restaurant to drink,
Yeah.
or to eat.
Yeah.
Usually when I get there, the first thing they give you is a glass, I always get water.
Yes.
And then I drink about half the water before my meal gets there.
Yeah.
Because I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
And so then I drink a little bit with it, and then I usually drink some after.
Right.
So
the best time to drink water is 15 to 10 minutes before you eat. But there again, not 8, 10, 12 ounces. Enough to get in there and hydrate. I mean, you may drink a little more. You may go 8 ounces, but not much more than that. You don't want to drink the big old 32 cup sometimes that they give you. And that way it gives your body time to push that water through. And then by the time you start eating and your saliva and all the other processes kick in, then you're fine. And then you drink just a little bit during your meal to take your herbs and tools. And then you don't drink any afterwards. Unless it's just to kind of maybe wet your... You'll find that when you start doing this, you actually will start not to crave drinking anything. Some people are just kind of addicted to it. Habit.
that's
Habit.
Habit. I mean, I do drink a lot of water, but in what you're saying, like, I'll get up and I usually drink a little cup of water in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I usually drink a bottle of water on the way to work.
Yep.
And then, I mean, I get thirsty, I feel like, because I've drank water and like I need more water.
Yeah.
And then I might drink not quite half a bottle
Yeah.
of one of these of water.
Yeah. 8 ounces. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but I do it all at once.
Yeah. Well, the formula I gave you is the actual best formula. I realize that's not necessarily accessible to most people, but it gives you a goal.
To work towards.
Exactly. And to realize that drinking 32 ounces of water at one time, although may constitute as your water intake for the day, it's not going to really constitute what the cells need for the day. So just keeping that balance. And remember, your water intake for the day does not include what's in your protein shakes, does not include what's in your coffee. And in fact, if you are drinking coffee, you need to add that same amount of liquid to your minimum ounces of water per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, 75 ounces is your minimum that you need to be drinking per day, and you drink an 8-ounce coffee, you now need to drink 83 ounces per day because coffee is dehydrating. Okay, so we need to replenish the body with that water that it's going to flush out automatically and not allow the cells to hydrate from. Okay? Also, ice water first thing in the morning will hinder your digestion as well. So if you like icy cold water first thing in the morning, it's not going to help you poo the way you need to poo. It's going to actually freeze everything up and slow your digestion up. Okay, so we don't want to do that. There's a few other things. Why do we pee so much when we drink more water? That's a really good one. First of all, we may be drinking too much water at one time. But the biggest thing to remember is the bladder is a muscle, just like the heart is a muscle, just like your biceps a muscle. You can't go into the gym and expect to curl 50 pounds when you haven't even been curling 20 or 30 or 40, right? So when you start putting more water in the bladder, it's already, oh, I'm just used to 20 ounces a day. That's all I'm used to. I'm kind of flabby and loose. But then you start putting in the 50 ounces of water, more than what you normally, whatever that figure is. You're gonna have to urinate more often. That's just the way it is. So that's okay, because what you're doing is you're challenging your bladder to be stronger. We want it to be stronger. And if you're consistent with your water for 2 weeks, unless there's something going on with your urinary system that we need to talk about, you will actually return to your normal amounts of urinary elimination each day. So if you usually go to the bathroom 3 times a day for urine, then you'll return to that after that muscle's built up to that. But it's just going to take a bit. You got to be patient and you got to be consistent. Okay? Because that bladder needs consistency. You just don't go into the gym for 1 week, curl, 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 and then nothing for 3 weeks, and then go for 4 weeks and expect to curl, curl, curl to sit, even more. You can't. So just remember that. That's really important. Anything else with water? Lemon water does count. You can put lemon in your water. That works. Herbal teas, as long as they are herbal teas, not Lipton herbal teas, because that does not count. I'm talking true, authentic herbal teas can count as part of your water. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it on water. Any questions on water? No, got it? It's important. For some reason, this earth was made 75 to 80% water, and so are our bodies. Kind of feel like a correlation, maybe? There's a reason why. We need water for everything that goes on within our system. And a lot of times you don't feel, well, just drink some water. See what happens. It's amazing how many people lighten up their headaches just by drinking some more water. Or, kind of joints get a little looser and not so stiff by drinking a little bit more water. Okay. All right. Options for water. Chlorophyll. I've got some sample here. You guys can try some on the way out. I love chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green water. I've always been known as a green water lady. Every time I would go to the gym in Austin, Texas, people would be like, what in the world are you drinking? I'm always drinking green water. I've been doing it for 20 years. Now I love chlorophyll because chlorophyll is alkalining. So it adds alkalinity to our bodies that are mainly over-acidic. It's a high density of minerals in it. Minerals we're supposed to get in our waters that we don't typically get in our waters, and I just remembered I forgot something on water and I'm coming right back to it. But it gives us lots of minerals. If you like spearmint, it's got a light spearmint taste to it. So if you have a hard time drinking enough water, this may be your answer. So not only is it helping you to drink more water and it feels refreshing, but at the same time you're getting minerals, you're getting nutrients, you're getting plant nutrients. Most of all of the chlorophylls come from alfalfa and barley. Really rich green things that really help our body be strong. You don't use very much, you use just a little bit. In fact, when you guys go to get your water, that's all you need. No, actually that's a lot. But that's all you need, just a little bit to start off with. And you don't ever want to do too much of it, because if you do too much of it, you will detox. It's wonderful for the kidneys, for the liver, for the blood. It's wonderful for all those body systems. But it will make you detox really fast if you try to do a lot of it at once. I usually just put a couple squirts. Of course, I've acclimated. I put a couple squirts in my water every time I filled up my 32-ounce mason jar of water for the day. So you guys are welcome to try it. I've got some cold water in back also, so I'm pulling the cold water, and you can try it with that. The other thing, let me give you a handout first. So here is a sheet of information on chlorophyll. When I had the store downtown Austin, this was my #1 seller. I sold a lot of chlorophyll. Next thing I want to talk to you guys about is Solstick Revive. Solstick Revive is something I'm giving y'all samples of. There's one for you and Justin. Thank you. Solstick Revive is your natural Gatorade replacement. It's your electrolyte balancer, and it also has some support for glucosamine, which is good for your joints in it, all right? We don't have bad food colorings. We don't have high fructose corn syrup in it. It's all healthy minerals, the electrolyte minerals specifically to help you with your body hydrating more. It will actually help you absorb your water better. It's great before and after workouts, or if you're going to be sweating a lot. Got a great taste to it. There again, another option. If you're having a hard time getting your water in, you may want to try this. But I'm a big fan of the Soul Stick Revive, especially for people who are, like I said, maybe putting pressure on their joints, or they got achy joints or something like that. So make sure you try that. What you do is like that little 16-ounce bottle you had there, Jennifer. You just open that up, just put it in there, shake it up, and go. Really easy. Got a nice taste to it. I think it's berry. Some kind of berry. Anyway, it is good. So try that. Here is some information on Soul Stick Revive, so you guys can read up on that as well. So getting back to water real quick, you grab this water bottle. The best kind of water you possibly could get is spring water. Spring water. We want to be really careful with our hard waters that are in the farming communities. We've got a lot of chemicals, a lot of farming residue that gets into our water supply. Really unhealthy for us. Spring water is the best at this time that you can get. Although you need to be careful because you want to make sure the spring water really is spring water. There are some companies out there that do like to put tap water and call it spring water, just because
it comes from Public Water Works of
exactly.
Dallas.
The best two ones that I have found, and I don't have the other water bottle, is these two particular ones. This is Crystal Geyser, 89 to 99 cents a bottle over here at Dollar General. And then Walgreens has a natural spring water as well. It's about $1.29, $1.49 a gallon. And those are really good. I can actually tell the difference of a water, whether it's spring water or not, by taste. My partner used to give me a heck of a time 13 years ago. He was like, why are you always drinking that Avian water? That high dollar water. You're always drinking that high dollar water. And I'm like, because it tastes good to me. You know, it tastes good to me. And I'm going to drink my water. If I need to drink my 100 ounces of water a day, I'm going to have a heck of a time doing it if it's tap water. But if it's Avian, it tastes good to me, I'll drink it in a heartbeat, not a problem. So that's the best you can get. We do have reverse osmosis out there that's available, and that's good. The only thing is that they take everything out and then they put stuff back in. Anyway, it's not as natural as it should be. Spring water is actually from the earth, you know, and from resources that should not be manipulated in any way, shape, or form, or adulterated. So that's, you know, if you're going to do reverse osmosis, be sure you add your chlorophyll. Get your minerals, the proper minerals in that you can actually absorb. Okay? Any questions on water?
There's a deal on YouTube about water, and it shows the various different brands.
Yes.
And which ones are too alkaline and too acidic, and that Crystal Geyser is one of the best.
Well, is it really? Can you send that to me? I would love it if you would send that to me. That would be great. Wonderful.
It's been a while since I watched it, but
yeah, if you can find it, I would love it, because that's the other thing is that your water's supposed to be on the neutral scale. It's supposed to be 7. But you know, of course, we've got all these alkaline waters out there, and I mean that's a great idea. But how are they making it alkaline, and is it something we can actually absorb? I mean, there's a process that goes on in the body where, just like food, I mean, if your body is not meant to break it down because it can't break it down for some reason, like if you're lactose intolerant, then you can still put it in, you can still put this good source of calcium in, but yet you don't absorb it. You know, I mean, anyway. But just want you to be careful, and I want you also to say, I will not drink tap water.
I will not drink tap water. Because it tastes horrible.
Yes.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
have heard Enid has
I have worked with people before that are addicted to tap water.
some addiction.
And tell me why that is. Talk about that more next week. So next, go ahead.
We've lived on a farm for, probably lived there for 12 years. And this last year we had to move to Drummond for school reasons. And I tried drinking the water in Drummond, and I can't drink it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I miss my farm water.
yeah. So next week, we are going to be talking about toxicity. We're going to be talking about toxicity in the environment, toxicity in your foods, toxicity in your personal care items. Next week, we hit the road running. So the last 2 weeks, we've been building our foundation, kind of making sure everything's in place. And next week, we start off with some really hardcore information, things you can do to start changing your environment and reducing your toxic exposure on a regular daily basis. We're also going to talk about how many times you should eliminate per day and what it should look like and how big it should be, all of those fun things. We're going to talk about cleansing and detoxing and things that you can do to reduce the toxicity that you've already incurred from whatever sources that may be. So that's what's coming on for us next week. And the other thing I want to make sure I mention, my schedule. So typically, I am available to clients 11 to 8, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays 11 to 4 or 5, okay? Saturdays are up in the air depending on my soccer schedule. It's a great texting day. Sundays I generally like to take off completely, so unless it's an emergency, I might not answer a text on Sunday, okay? The best way to get a hold of me is by text. I am a texter because of my life and my schedule with the children and everything else. If you want an answer from me, the best way to get it is to text me. If you call me, I may not get to you as quickly, unless it's something I need to call you back and it's not too much for me to text type of thing. If you have an emergency and you need to talk to me as soon as possible, text me and call me, both, and leave a message, okay? That way I know that something's going on and I need to make sure I make that a priority ASAP. So that's kind of how my schedule goes. Obviously, the nights I'm teaching classes, it'll be very hard for me to text you. So I'm up here. But anyways, any questions, ladies? Got it? Good? All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for being here. We're going to make some blueberry chai smoothies next. And appreciate you being here. Have a healthy, informed week.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.